Back in 2020, we were supposed to be getting a very large DLC in the form of a Cops and Crooks DLC. It had all kinds of police vehicles, a ranking system, and well, the list goes on, and I've covered this in a different video before. In case you are curious, I'll leave it in the pinned comment down below if you want to check it out. The short of it is that there was a lot of really cool stuff in there that we never got to play. Fast forward a couple of years later, and we've seen most vehicles that were meant to be coming out in a DLC released at this point, as well as bits and bobs of the DLC having been sprinkled in other DLCs throughout the years. This DLC, however, is definitely going to be taking that a little step further. While the DLC itself is obviously not going to be the Cops and Crooks DLC itself, it seems to be taking at the very least the concepts and the ideas from the Cops and Crooks DLC and trying to kind of repurpose them in a way where they don't exactly go like, this is Cops and Crooks, but then obviously, you know, just calling it something different. It's kind of shaping up to be like a Cops and Crooks light, if you will. Vigilante missions making a return should make for some interesting gameplay within free mode and giving those cops vehicles a new purpose that they previously didn't have, aside from being cool looking $3 million cars that you can only customize within certain and specific kind of areas within your arsenal of properties. It'd be very interesting to see how they will go about these vigilante missions. Will they go on like they did in GTA 4, where you go into the computer, you find a certain suspect and kind of give them like a backstory, if you will, or they're gonna go the route of the 3D era, where you just simply launch a mission from the vigilante, go through 12 different levels with increasing difficulty, amount of enemies, etc. Or are they going to go a completely different route and something new and fresh, where instead of those two options, they literally give you the option to capture or kill them, or go as far as to having to meet certain criteria to arrest them, or lure them into a trap or an ambush, stuff like that. At the end of the day though, I think the most likely scenario is the fact that the vigilante missions are just gonna boil down to you started in your car and you kill the suspect. I mean, it's America after all. Adding legendary bounties is something that I really hope is going to be a thing within this DLC as well. It's kind of a no-brainer. Rockstar has done a bounty hunting role in Red Dead Online before, so it only makes sense for them to do it again, but then in a GTA Online type of way. Also, adding a ranking system would be very cool as well. As you rank up through the new bounty hunter business, you'll also be able to get bigger and better bounties, better rewards, etc, etc. Kind of like the role in Red Dead Online, which again, the concept and the idea is already there. It's just a matter of Rockstar figuring out a way to implement it in GTA Online. If this is going to be the case, I kind of doubt it, considering that the previous DLC with Chop Shop seemingly might be going the exact same route, and I do have some fears regarding that. Because what I'm personally fearing what's going to happen is that within the business, you're going to have a similar system like you have in the Chop Shop. You get 3 different targets, you select the 3 different targets, you do them, and then you have to wait a week until you can do the next 3 again. Kind of how I would assume that they would do the more legendary bounties or the more lucrative ones. And then I guess the vigilante side of things, it's going to be played within free mode, and it's going to be the predominant thing you're going to be doing. At the very least, I do hope that those two will be intertwined within the business and kind of give you a benefit for doing either of them, and then obviously helping you with more passive income or whatever it may be. But if they do go down the ranking path, I really hope it's not going to be another rank 1000 slugfest, because if you look at shooters and if you look at arena war, those two take way too long to rank up. It is too long for too little rewards. Another thing that they could also be doing is that the business is going to have all the replayable bounties, and the vigilante missions is something that's going to get drip fed later down the line. These are the two options that may be a bit pessimistic on my side, but it's current day GTA Online and they really want to stretch out as much content as they possibly can, because well, there isn't a whole heap now, and they want to keep the people within the franchise until the big 6 comes out in about a year or so. The lack of a lasso in GTA Online will likely be replaced by the stun gun to capture targets alive, or if you still want to kill them and just taste them to death, that's something that you can do, though rather cruel, but nice. I was going to suggest a PvP element to the bounty hunting business as well, but I couldn't even say that with a straight face, even in my most chaotic state. Given the fact that current state PvP in GTA Online doesn't exactly scream a fun time where you try to hunt down a bounty. I can only imagine you trying to chase down a bounty and them deciding, nah, I don't really feel like doing this, and then just teleport their apartment or to their doomsday bunker and then just orbital cannon you instead, or just hide forever. Given the fact that most players in this game rather just run away from a fight rather than engaging with them. I speak from experience, and I'm sure many of you do as well. It's either that or just, you know, the variety of bullshittery that they will use. But the main reason why I was going to suggest a PvP element to it is because I kind of feel that having AI as a target might kind of hinder the DLC in a way, and this is primarily coming from the fact that I've done like player versus player type of things, mostly in like 5M servers, like NoPixel and RP and that sort of stuff, right? Where there was a lot more thrill because you knew there was someone who was probably very capable of catching you, rather than AI where you kind of know like, okay, I've played this game enough to know really what's going on. Maybe that's me being a bit pessimistic and being a little bit afraid that we're gonna go down the route of the Chop Shop or any of the prior DLCs where it really just comes down to kill or capture target, and making that experience be any different than any other mission in the game is probably gonna be pretty tough because, well, what's this bounty target going to be so much different from than all the others? But I guess it might be too early to call because we don't really have a whole heap of information about it just yet. Having said all that though, I do think that the DLC's concept at the very least is sounding interesting. With some of the more quality of life changes coming to the game as well, it's shaping up to be a pretty decent DLC. Another round of payout increases as well as some upgrades done to the Sparrow and Bambushka sounds like a pretty welcome change. I think the main thing that people want out of the buff to the defensive capabilities and the armor capabilities of the Sparrow really will just come down to being able to land it without the thing immediately catching fire. I think for most of us this will go a very long way. But that said, that's it for this one. Thank you so very much for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe for more, and become a member like Chloe, GTA Plus, Notorious Jam, Dan, and the Crossronics. And I'll see you all later.